Maybe like this. And you can go and see them. Who wouldn't want to see this? You can go on a boat tour. And welcome back to another weekly vlog. It is Monday today and we are so excited to have driven around 80 kilometres outside of Christchurch, and we are in the French settlement town of Akoroa. We've literally just pulled up, we've walked along and found this beautiful bit of, I suppose it is coastline, because this is all joins with the sea, so this is all tidal. We're saying I think the tide's coming in right now, but it's a French settlement, or it was originally, so there's lots of nods to French culture. All of the roads are called rue, which I imagine and think is road in French, and other than that there is lots of cafes that are also called boutiques and creperies apparently, so we're excited to have a little bit of an explore today. I think the first stop is going to be the lighthouse, and then we might do the glass house too, but we are hoping to be back here at some point in our year. Where we've just stopped now, there is a freedom camping site, so that's where we could take our van when we have it, so we might do a little bit of a sussing out today and then probably make a little bit of a return later on in the year or our trip. I'm excited to show you this place because it was recommended to us as a sort of one of the top places to go just outside of Christchurch as a day trip. Just for your information, it took us about an hour and a half to drive here, and the roads were quite windy. I think it's going to be a bit of a baptism of fire when we have the van, because I was glad we were in a much smaller car today, but it is really accessible, like it's completely fine to do. But yeah, come with us and I'll show you around. Walked a little bit further around, and this is such a pretty view. This is like an old pier that they've got. I'm not sure what that building is at the end. I think it's boat tours, and then this is the rest of the view. So we just found out that it was in 1840 when the first French settlers landed here, and in 1990 the French Prime Minister at the time made a visit back here to commemorate the anniversary. I think it was 150 years since. And these things, there's a lot of them. What are they called, Tom? Tripots, and they're used for boiling whale blubber to get the oil from them. Is that right?
Yeah, there's some gross bugs in them.
Okay, but not now. No whale blubber currently in here. They've kept them just in case one day the climate crisis comes to a head and we need to boil some whale blubber once more. One other thing Akoroa is famous for, as is testified by this sign, is fish and chips. French and British meat in the form of fish and chips. But yeah, this was on a few of the websites I visited. Things to do is to get some fish and chips. So don't know whether we will today, but they are world renowned, so they must be good. So this map here gives a history of both the British and the French influence of this area, and it's basically saying that the British beat the French here by only 3 days, and they hoisted up a Union Jack, but then the French came and they lived and settled and everything was very amicable. But even still now there is sort of a divide in terms of architecture and street names. So this half here is more English influenced, so you can see look like Alma's Valley, Percy Street, but then when you go this side you've got all of the more the rue Jolie, like we were talking about earlier. So there we go, there's a brief history of Akoroa and the Banks Peninsula. So one of the other things that you can do in Akoroa is go on a dolphin spotting tour, because the Banks Peninsula is home to the smallest dolphins in the world. They're Hector's dolphins and they're only 1.5 metres long. So there's lots of tours that lead from this pontoon every day that you can jump on. You can either swim with dolphins or just go and see them, and there's loads of the marine life that you'll be able to see along the way too. This is the Akoroa Lighthouse, and unusually it is situated in a harbour, And most lighthouses are obviously located on the coast in order to stop ships from crashing and colliding into the rocks, but this one was actually moved in 1980 in order to preserve it. And for those Disney enthusiasts out there like me, this one reminds me of the lighthouse in the beach club near Stormalong Bay. We've decided to take a little walk outside of the town to go on the Children's Bay walkway, which I think is otherwise known as the Rhino walkway. There's lots of little wooden statues of animals along the way apparently, so it's about an hour walk I think to the Rhino, and then you can turn around and come back, or it is a 3-hour circular loop, but I think just because we're a little bit more short on time and we want to go back into the town and maybe have a little bite to eat, we're just going to walk up there, and apparently it's got really, really pretty views of the bay and of the town as well. But also yesterday, in other good news, we brought a drone. I think in the last vlog we were talking about how we might potentially buy one, and we saw the couple with one and we're like, oh, shall we, shouldn't we? But a little bit of research over the weekend that you won't have seen, and we went out yesterday to a tech shop in Christchurch and bought the DJI Mini 2 SE or SE2. There's lots of different components to that title, but we're really excited to give it a go, and we actually have brought it with us today because there's not that much wind, so we're not sure whether we're going to try it if we get a bit of a clear opening here or just try to set it up today, so we'll see. Giraffe! 3 giraffes! 4! Wow. We found the rhino! The people just passed us like, beware, there's a rhino up there. I was like, we want to see it. The steel rhino. And then this are the views that you get. It's a really gorgeous little cottage that I think you can stay in over there, but then these are the views of the town, and that's where we've just come from, just down there. Scooby-Doo-Doo! Tried really hard to find a crepe or a galette, because with the French influence we were like, oh, they'll definitely have some, and apparently there used to be a really, really lovely place, but no, apparently it's closed down now. So then we thought, oh, we'll go get a waffle, because there was a waffle house, and that was closed today, just said we're closed. So we've ended up with ice cream. So Tom's got a hokey pokey. What's a hokey pokey? Is it like butterscotch?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
Sure.
We'll shape,
Sweet.
and I've got rum and raisin, so it tastes really alcoholic. Just had that, but it tastes like a Christmas cake. So for those of you that are interested, this is the drone that we bought. So it's the DJI Mini 2 SE, and it's one of the latest models to come out. So you can see here it only weighs 249 grams and packs down really small. So Tom has it in his hand now. We're just trying to look at the footage from earlier. So this is the remote control, and it connects to your phone like this. Oh yeah, so the footage is just playing this the other way, and then you charge the remote control separately, and then this is almost like, it looks like a Nokia flip phone. It's like the size of your phone / your like palm, depending on how big your hand is, but yeah, it's really light. Oh, there we go, look at this. And then this is how all the legs come out. So it's got 4 different legs and then 4 propellers, and in and in the kit it came with some spare propellers, some leads to charge, and then this is the camera on the front with the hair caught in it. So it's on a gimbal, so basically means that when we're flying it, it moves around, there you go, look, and changes direction based on where we tell it to point on the phone and the app. And basically when we started it, it gave Tom like a little tutorial of how to fly it. So it all seems really easy so far, doesn't it? It seemed quite easy to use. So yeah, I think it was definitely worth paying probably a fair chunk more than like the real basic one, but it just meant that we would be able to definitely get it fixed, and there's always going to be parts available for it. It uses the same batteries as all the other ones, so yeah, all in all, first fly, we're happy with it. Just walking back to the car now, but we've had a lovely day, haven't we? It's been really nice here. I think when we come back we'd like to do the glass house and also the dolphin watching too, but yeah, we've had a lovely time, haven't we? Mm-hmm. It's felt very similar, and there's actually a house called Windermere. It's felt very similar to the Lake District really, but really glad that we made a little bit of a trip. This is our first place really that we've seen outside of Christchurch in New Zealand, well for me anyway, and it's been really impressive. You can tell this is where a lot of people stay for like a camper van stop because there's so many of them, which are all parked in the car park where we're going back to. But it'd be nice to bring our camper van back and we can join the van life crew, and we're not sure what we'll do tomorrow, but we'll see you then. Hello everyone, it's Tuesday today and I'm starting this vlog in the car because we have come to a place called the Tannery, which is a little shopping street. We didn't really know what to expect until we pulled up, and there's basically lots of brick houses like you'll see in a second, or no, they're not really houses, are they? They're shops, and they're all independently owned, and we're going to go have a little mooch round. We looked in a few of our guidebooks and we found out about this place that we'd actually driven by on the way to Sumner quite a few times, but had just never really known what it was. So it's called the Tannery. It's about maybe like a 15-minute drive outside of Christchurch. I imagine you can get the bus here as well. So yeah, we're gonna have a bit of a mooch, see what we find. I'm really hoping for a brownie or a baked good of some kind. So there's a really cool old style cinema here. Do you look cinemas? 5 stars / diamond things. But they've got quite a lot of new releases on. Look, that Living film with Bill Nighy. That's supposed to be good. I actually saw that earlier. So we'll just walk through one of their little brick buildings, and then this is at the other side of each of them. So it's almost like big Victorian arcade. And there's eateries down one side and then a few shops scattered in, and then on the right side is just more shops. But it's really pretty and quite quiet actually. The car park looked quite busy, but it's quite quiet here today. So I imagine it'd be a really good thing to do when it's raining as well, because you could come and shop indoors. I haven't seen a baked good yet. I'm still on the hunt. Everyone, it is Wednesday today, and we've had a very early start just to keep me in check from what I mentioned in last week's vlog when we were speaking about trying to get up a little bit earlier, but that is because mainly we were tutoring this morning, and then we went out for a run. We ended up doing 6k this morning. We are off to Tom's Emporium, which is not Tom's own shop. It is a shop which sells loads of craft stuff and fancy dress stuff, because on Saturday, like I mentioned in our previous vlog, we are going to the cricket. So there's a test match on between Sri Lanka and New Zealand, and we have got some tickets to go, and Saturday is dress up day. And for a while I didn't know whether that would involve a fancy ball gown. Tom have to wear his black bow tie, but no. We are dressing up in cool fancy dress fun stuff, so we are off to go and see what costumes we can pick up. So it's me, Tom and Nate going, so potentially we might get something like as a little trio, but we also might just see whether there's some funky Hawaiian shirts and leis or face paint. So we'll see what they have at Tom's Emporium, and then we're also going to stay out for a little bit, maybe grab a coffee and do a little bit of route planning for when we pick up our van, and we also might nip to a shop called Kmart, I think. We've not really been in there too much before, but they sell a lot of homeware-y stuff, and we want to get some stuff for the van, so like Tupperware, bits and bobs like duvet set and some sheets. So we'll see what we can find when we're out. So we're just going into Riccarton, which is really close to near where we live, so it's like the centre, like it's almost like a small town centre, so they have lots of things there. Here we are at Tom's Emporium. Here's the man himself, Mr. Tom Henry. Or maybe this is Tom, who knows? So the fancy dress I think is down this end. More behind counter. Oh, here we go, look. They have layers and stuff. A Mexican hat. This stuff is so random. Some handcuffs, binoculars, war medals, some nice Elton John sunglasses. I feel like we want some of these. Maybe they come in the hippie set though. A party weapon? That's like a Flintstone bone. Magic wand. Who needs to spend loads of money when you're in Universal? You could just get one from here. Gosh. What an array. Oh look, workwoman. That's Mario and Luigi.
Yes. There's a reason why they can't say it though.
Oh, right. They've got so much.
Just like Ice Princess over there.
Ice Princess Elsa. Oh, there's the vicar. It's like I was the vicar. Would be apt. I mean, I'm not a vicar. Definitely not a sexy nun. Oh, damn, don't know how we feel about that. So we've just been into the shop and got some cookie crumbles, Exhibit A. See what they're like. Well, it might take a little bit of licking though before we soften them up, so I'll let you know in a sec. They're good? I taste a bit like Lotus Biscoff. I feel. No, it's a cookie bit.
No, I can't read.
Soft biscuit.
Yeah, it's like a coffee inside.
Yeah, like, but also vanilla-y in the middle. Oh yeah, give these a 7 out of 10. Pulled up at Waipara Hills Vineyard and Winery. It's around 50 kilometres outside of Christchurch, so it's taken us about 50 minutes to get here, to be honest. And the weather's not great today, but that's okay because we're just going inside to do some tasting. So the tasting flight that we're doing is $10 per person, so that's about £5-6 back in the UK, which isn't too bad at all. And that sort of price is quite common for a lot of the wineries around here. We've been doing a little bit of research of other ones this morning, a little bit further up north. So apparently you normally just pay a small fee, and then sometimes you can sort of even get that fee back, so you get the tasting for free if you either go for lunch or you buy a bottle of wine. So this place here have a cafe that do lunch and brunch. It's open 10 until around 4 o'clock Thursday through to Monday. So it's Thursday today. We thought we'd come at around 3, so we're hitting sort of time as it gets into the evening. So hopefully we're going to taste some really nice wines. This vineyard in particular is especially known for their Riesling, and this region also grows a lot of Riesling grapes. And so let's hope it lives up to the New Zealand wine hype and we can try some nice ones, and we'll take you along with us.
Yeah, but who had to drive?
Me.
And who's driving back?
Probably Tom, because I'm going to have an extra glass of wine, because if the tasting's small, you know, you've got to make the trip worth it and have a bit of a bigger glass. So yeah, probably you. Wine tasting, we're just pulling out now, and it was, I know I say this about everything, but it was so nice, wasn't it, just to spend a few hours tasting wine. We definitely got a lot of wine, like really good value for money for $10. Maybe like, yeah, probably a good 10.
Close to 10.
Yeah, close to 10. Most of them were white. We had 1 rosé and 2 Pinot Gris, so bordering on a red, a bit like a hybrid, but not a rosé. But it was a lovely experience. The lady that did our tasting was really nice. I didn't film too much, just because it was literally just us two and the woman, so it was quite an intimate experience. So I didn't want to seem like I wasn't listening or anything by filming a lot, but I did get a few clips that you probably will just have seen. If not, I'll insert them now. But they are most famous, like we said, for Riesling, and we had a lovely Riesling, just their normal standard Riesling. The lady said that the vineyard itself was opened in 1990 by an American, so you'll have seen from the clips it actually felt very much like an American type building. It was owned by a guy from California, and he actually lived there with his family for a few years until his wife got homesick, and then they moved back home, and now it's owned by a local investor, and it's part of the 3rd largest wine company in the world. But it was really lovely, so we did the tasting, and that lasted for about an hour, and then we went to their cafe. It was very quiet. We weren't definitely very close to closing time, and so I say that if you didn't want to feel like we didn't actually feel like we were being pushed out, but the music stopped just as we got our cheese board. So I'd say to go a little bit earlier if you want a bit more of a relaxed experience, and not like, oh, probably need to leave sort of soon. But we took our time and we ordered the cheese board, which was good for sharing, and that came with a brie, cheddar and blue cheese, and then lots of other things on the side like crackers and pear and pickles, and we also, well, I had a glass of wine because Tom is driving and I just had another glass of the Riesling that I really liked. So all in all, a really good trip just outside of Christchurch. Definitely would recommend it. It's a very easy drive, just literally straight up, basically one road, good value for money, and we can't wait to go some more videos. Hello everyone, good morning, and it is the day of the cricket and we are donning some pretty spectacular costumes, if I do say so myself. Nate has absolutely pulled it out the bag last minute. He went and got a full-on leprechaun costume. I'll insert a clip now of what all three of us look like, sort of full outfitted up, but it is all set to be a fantastic day. It is beautiful sunshine. I think it's gonna get up to highs of 24-25 degrees, and we've got our face paints going on. Laura did one cheek, I did the other. I can't remember which one. I think she did the right and I did the left, and we are on our way to watch Sri Lanka and New Zealand. Not Ireland at all. I think some people might think we have got something a little bit wrong, like we think we're going to see Ireland or we're having a bit of an identity crisis. Neither of the above is true. We are fully aware that we are in Irish gear, but it's St. Patrick's Day on Friday, so we just thought we might as well get good value for money for our costumes and wear them again. I mean, I'm not sure whether Nate will wear his again, but we are looking forward to just having a day in the sunshine, watching the cricket, and I'm really hopeful that we're going to have some of the best costumes. But apparently Nate says people go a little bit full out, so we'll see when we get there. All that's left to say for this clip is top of the morning to ya. So we've just been roped into doing a dancing competition in the middle of the cricket field, not a pitch, and we went out and did a little bit of Irish jigging. If I'm feeling brave, I'll insert the footage now so you can see the wonders that beheld the eyes of everyone in the Oval. I'm not going to say it was awful. I'm also not going to say it was the best performance of my life. However, I think as a team effort we did well. Didn't embarrass ourselves. We also did not win $200 split between three of us, so that was a bit of a sad time. You know what? Your life starts outside your comfort zone, and that's what we did today. We went and pushed ourselves, danced in front of lots of people, and had a great time. So that is us on the way back from the cricket. We've had a lovely long day. We got there literally almost when the first ball was bowled, 11 a.m, and we're leaving now and it's just gone at 6, so 7 hours solid of cricket action. Sri Lanka are winning at the moment, but then they're bowling again, whereas New Zealand finished up on more runs after the first innings. There we go. I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert, but I also thought this would be a really good chance to end the vlog. So thank you so much for watching, and please like this video if you did, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you next week for something a little bit different. Bye bye.